I dare say I have never, ever been able to do that before.
G'day fixers and welcome to How Not to Sharpen. This is not an instructional video on showing you how to get scary sharp edges on your tools because quite frankly I am very much just beginning on that journey as I start to explore hand tools for the first time. What I'm here to do today is to show you how I, as a power tool woodworker, have decided to get into sharpening. There is a lot of kit, and this is just the beginning of it, that you need to start simply getting one of these to be, well, handy. Right, so first up, here are the reasons of why I now need to know how to put an edge on a blade. I've got myself these lovely 2 hand planes, and of course they have blades, or irons, some people call them as well. And while these were surprisingly sharp out of the box, I have now used these on a couple of projects and any edge that was there is well and truly destroyed. So to get these working, we need to get them a little bit shiny. Now the first thing, which is completely and utterly unnecessary, but which my mate Derek Lark gave me, so I'm now finally going to get to use it, is this lovely 3D printed angle finder. It basically tells you what angle your blade is currently at. Now I suspect these are all at 25. And as I insert this in here, you can see that that is true. And the same should be true for each of my chisels as well. This is the Veritas Mark II Honing Guide, and from all reports is one of the best sharpening systems for hand sharpening, especially for people who don't know what they're doing, on the market. It is not cheap. You can get much cheaper varieties from Amazon, eBay, those sorts of places that do essentially the same job, but for the few times I have used this, I'm already in love with this thing. Effectively, that registration key hooks onto there, you set it up to whatever blade, chisel, angle you want. It allows you to very repeatedly get a consistent shiny edge at the correct angle on those blades. I'm not here to demonstrate how to use this. I will link to a video where someone much more knowledgeable than me goes through that process. But if you have the coin, splashing out on this is the key of this whole system that I am working on. Okay, so that's how she ends up in there. And that should be, when it rests down like that, exactly the angle that you are trying to achieve. So primarily, I have decided, again, thanks to Paul the Wood Knight, to go to a 6000, 1000 water stone system. Though not completely necessary, as it does come in one of these little holders. I already have liked this dedicated holder with the movable rubber feet on it to keep that nice and secure. As this is coarse but not super coarse, and my chisels, some of them very abused, I've also just got a piece of MDF with 240 grit sandpaper glued down to it, which I'm using for the primary bevel. And the reason I have a marker here is because what I've been doing is colouring in the blade that is going to be sharpened, and you can make progress and watch the black stuff disappear through each stage of both the waterstone and the sandpaper, and I found that very handy to include in the sharpening kit. I love the little thumb grip on the back where you can rest your hands on the Veritas Mark II, and it's very natural to find yourself a good angle to hold and start to work away there. The last thing I'll mention about the guide is that one of the great advantages is this little brass knob here. Set in that position, it is on the primary bevel that you want, but then, if you rotate it 180 degrees, that just tilts it slightly to give a micro bevel at, I don't even know what the extra angle is, but it's smaller, sharper, and gives you less work to do when you come back to touch up the edge. So, while not a how to use this thing, that is probably the most handy feature apart from the registration guide. So once I've ground down my primary bevel on the 240, that should only really honestly need to be done once or when the blades get a bit damaged, I come over to the waterstones. Let's take a look at those. So for the waterstone kit, Honestly, I've just got a towel under here. I haven't found the need to clamp down this block. There's enough weight in it that it is fine. As I said, we've got the 1000, 6000 water stone. We've got the pen again, of course, which I'm going to use for blackening the bevel to see how much work I've done. This plastic box from Bunnings, very super handy. Firstly, to soak the waterstone for a few minutes between use, and then to keep the waterstone in. It's not going in my storage solution. It's going to be separate, and keep a bit of a humid environment. Not soaked in water, but humid environment to prolong the life of the stone and keep anything wet in there. Simply gym socks, old rags for cleaning the stone in between, and this was a fantastic little investment too. To touch up the waterstone, in between, you'll see that water just disappeared entirely there, so it's completely dry. A spray bottle, super, super handy, especially with these combo stones where you're flipping between the sides because you want to make sure you don't get the brown 1000 grit on the white 6000 grit side. You want to wipe that all away when you're switching between the two. Spray bottle, very handy. And then probably the most extravagant purchase. I mean, this I consider essential. There are lots of cheaper ways of doing it, but I really like Paul's one, so I found it on eBay and splashed out for a handled 400 grit diamond stone. Now, you can use diamond stones for your primary sharpening. I've not decided to do that. I want the water stones. Thing with water stones is they wear out unevenly. So this thing, and my nice soft pencil, is to mark up the water stone, spray it, and rub it down until you grind a nice flat surface. So this maintains this, and this maintains your chisels. So again, while I'm not going to go into the full sharpening kit, you'll see there's no movement in the stone. It's very easy to get nice full width. Rotate the stone to wear it out evenly, and then when you're happy with your primary bevel on there, flip it over to the 6000 side and repeat until it's all nice and mirror shiny. Obviously, this is not as high as you can go. It's a very basic start. If I want to go scary sharp later on, then I can get another stone and add to the system. But for now, that is the heart of what I'm doing. It takes a little bit of time to get it done the first time, but once you've got that micro bevel on there, coming back to touch them up, as long as you haven't damaged them, is super quick. Waterstones have a bad rep for being incredibly messy, but just with this towel here and the spray bottle, I find that it's not too bad. It is going to create some mess, but you're not going to be here for hours cleaning up or anything like that. Now I've made myself a very cute little strop, which I'll do a short on. I've designed it to fit in my new kit, and also so I can just simply hold it down on the table. I did waste some money on some sharpener off Amazon to apply to my strop, and once I've sharpened up the chisels to knock off the burr and finish them off. That's some really nice cow leather there. The reason I wasted money is because my mate Scotty from Scott's Custom Creations told me, and probably should have been obvious, that custom grit 1 and 2 can be used on your strop as well. So, well, I'm going to use it because I've bought it, but going forwards, if you make yourself one, and when this runs out and I make a new strop, I'll switch over to the Aussie-made custom grit. So, really good product and another use for it. So that's how I've decided to go about beginning learning how to sharpen as a power tool woodworker, and I hope that that has been useful to some of you who, like me, have been putting off this for far too long. It's intimidating, at least it was for me to begin with, which is probably why I've delayed, but now that I've got my planes, it's forced me into it, and I'm very happy. And look, it's actually quite fun. It's very satisfying to watch the edge develop, and then when you actually use the damn tool, it cuts, which is novel, should we say the least. See you on the next one. James Fixit Fingers out.